Peace and love, beautiful people. Peace and love. Welcome to the Hybrid Podcast. And this is episode 1 of the relaunch. I'm super happy for you guys to be involved in this and come along on the journey. I'm telling you, I got a lot to learn, but I'm really, really excited for the future and the podcast guests that we've been already confirming. There's so much great things to talk about. But for today's episode, I want to talk about who we're going to have on. And that is my brother, Tony Marz from the Melted Broadcast. From UFO phenomena and experiencer accounts to hidden truths, consciousness, and the mystery shaping our reality, Tony has built a platform dedicated to exploring the strange, the unexplained, and the deeply thought provoking. Tonight's conversation goes deep into the cosmic unknown, so lock in, open your mind, and welcome my brother, Tony Marz, from the Melted Broadcast. Tony, what's going on, man?
What's up, brother?
I'm good. I'm so happy that you decided to be episode 1 of the podcast. As everybody knows me, you have a real long-lasting relationship in this beautiful community, and I thought it would only be right that we would catch up with everybody on episode 1 of the Hybrid Podcast. So I just want to formally say thank you and welcome, my brother. How you been?
I've been good, man. First of all, I want to say thank you for having me as your number one, episode. It means a lot to me. Let's get this thing launching. But I've been good, bro. Just pushing out these episodes and trying to stay consistent and get people to come on and tell their story. Here to
I know
know.
that I know that at the end of this episode you got a special announcement about something that's happening in August, no?
Oh yeah, a
I
big
can't wait to
announcement.
talk about that. I can't wait to talk about that. But you got to wait to the end to, if you want, you can fast forward. But I do not recommend that because you're going to miss all this
Yeah, we could
beautiful,
wait.
beautiful conversation. So just wait on it.
Yeah, we could wait.
All right. So the first question I got for you that I actually always wanted to know. I don't know what kind of a friend I am because I don't know your origin story. What made you want to even start this community of the Melted Broadcast? I'm looking at your YouTube page and I'm looking at the community that you built on social, and I can see that not only is it long lasting, but in the past couple of weeks and months, it's been growing rapidly. What made you want to start the hybrid? Not the hybrid podcast. That's my podcast. What made you want to start the Melted Broadcast?
Well, it all started back in 1996, Peak of Sticks. Nah, playing. No, so it started when I grew up listening. Of course, I mean I wasn't old enough to know when he was alive, but I eventually started listening to like old radio, late night radio, Art Bell. I started listening to the stories, people coming in and talking about all the crazy paranormal or alien related content or stuff that they were seeing or getting into, and I got really interested in it. I've always been interested in these topics ever since I was a little kid, always. And moving forward, I just kept getting more involved and almost obsessed with it. Listening to shows like Jimmy Church, Faded Black, of course, the other legend, George Norrie, Coast to Coast. I believe now he does. I think it's Beyond Belief on Gaia,
Yep.
and I just really started getting really into it, and being an experiencer myself and experiencing the phenomenon, not just the alien aspect of it, but I guess like the paranormal like ghosts and stuff like that. Since I was a little kid, kind of coming out with it, just to like friends and stuff like that. I was always one that was, kind of picked on about it. They would make jokes and crack jokes, and it's like at that time, up until not too long ago, like now it's kind of cool to talk about it, but back then it wasn't. You'd be ridiculed about it and all that. And I mean, what better way than to get other people to come on and talk about their experience in a safe way where they're not going to be made fun of or ridiculed, and they could be a part of something special, a community where everybody kind of has their back. Well, not kind of, everybody does have their back, because they've been through the same thing, they've been through the same ridicule. And also me being a student of not just learning about that, but a student of, like wanting to gain knowledge on anything and everything I don't know, the forbidden knowledge, if you will. What better way than to get these guests that know this stuff, that have been studying it 30, 40, 50 plus years, like their life's work, to come on and tell me themselves, so it's also a benefit to me as a student of all this. And I think, it's a wonderful thing for me and for the people that are involved.
Wow, man. Let me tell you, I've checked out a lot of your podcasts, and you have some heavy hitting names. Even the future podcast that you told me about, all the stuff that you got going on. I'm like, dude, where you're going is like a skyrocket really fast. And I'm happy that people like you are in the community that give people a space, because I know when I had all my experiences in the beginning, I was ridiculed just like you. I mean, it was hard for me to talk about it to friends and family. So it was me leaning on the community that allowed me to be able to, be the figure in the community right now that I am, to be able to help others and have the platform. And then when you talk about hidden knowledge and all the esoteric stuff, we're definitely going to get into the paranormal, but you start thinking about ancient history and the way these extraterrestrials or these multidimensionals has come over here and helped humanity. It's also good to know that there's people out there that are digging into like the artifacts and the old school scrolls
Yeah.
and really studying all these books, because I'm not one to do that. Just the type of person to speak about my experience, and then I'm
Yeah.
thirsty to hear everybody else's experience. But those intellectuals that really get into it, I love that you have conversations with them as well, because I feel like that's heavily needed. Now, to transition into what I want to talk about first, you said earlier on in your childhood you had ghost like experiences. I would love for you to speak about that a little bit more, if that's okay. What kind of experiences
Yeah.
have you had?
So when I was little, I would always experience, this phenomena, whether, I'm in my room, the house would be empty, and it's always the same thing, bro. Like even to this day, this happens. It happened to me the other night. Someone always knocks on my door, like in my bedroom. I'll be, maybe like 5, 6 years old. I'd be laying in bed, and I could feel somebody. I'm facing the wall, and I could feel somebody right behind me, like they're this close to my head, and I'm just like so scared to turn around, and then there it goes, tutu, knock on the door,
Wow.
and I get up, I kind of freak out. Fast forward, same thing. As a teenager, these things are happening up until right now as an adult in a whole different area of Houston, a whole different house, a whole different environment. Same thing, bro. Someone's knocking on my door. I'll lay down and somebody will or something will push me. I've had my face brushed. Like 2 weeks
Wow.
ago, I go to lay down and somebody is like they ran their hand, down my spine, and again, just jumped up, started freaking out about it. But going back again to whenever I was like, I say almost a teenager, I was always seeing things too. Of course, these orbs. But I remember one particular situation. We're driving down some, I don't know if it was like a little, it was a long street, somewhere in the middle of nowhere. There was woods on both sides, and it was me. I think my two brothers. My dad was driving, and his best friend was with him. And I remember looking to the left, looking out the window, and I see a lady kind of like tied up with her hands and her feet like tied to the tree, and she's in one of those like old school, I guess like 50s bikinis, I guess. And I remember telling my dad, I was like, hey, I was like, there's a woman tied to the tree, and I remember clear as day what she looked like, what she was wearing, the color of it. Like it was so realistic. Like I knew it was real. I knew what I was looking at. So I tell my dad, and he's curious too. He goes, he busts a U-turn. They drive back, and there's nothing, nobody on the tree.
What?
Yeah, they thought I was kind of losing my mind a little bit, but I mean, things like that have always been happening to me since I was a kid. I think I've told you the story of the Whisper Lady, which I mean, I'll tell the story, but come to find out later on, it was a watcher. But I started getting these really bad episodes. a sleep paralysis. And again, that started whenever I was probably about maybe 10 years old. But the time that it was like really impactful on my life when things really started ramping up, just not just on the paranormal aspect of it, but it started tying into to like the aliens and the UFOs and the orbs and all that. So I get home from work, my wife's in the kitchen cooking dinner. I go lay down in the bed for a second. I'm laying there and I shut my eyes for a second, then I open my eyes again, and I'm frozen stuck. I can't move. I can't move
Wow.
my arms. I can't move my legs. I couldn't even move my head. The only thing I could move were my eyeballs.
What?
So yeah, the lights are off, but we have a window so you could still kind of see inside because it was daylight outside. It was bright, still kind of bright in the room. And to the left, I see like a lady, walking from the door towards me, and she has like long, like darkish brown, blackish, matted hair almost, and it looked like she was wearing like a white robe, but it looked like an old robe. It kind of matched like the way her hair looked, like all matted and kind of like raggedy, whatever. I can't see her face, but she's steady walking up to me because her head's kind of down, her hair's kind of covering it, and she goes to the side of me and leans over into my ear and starts whispering. And what she was saying, I couldn't understand it because it wasn't any kind of language that I've ever heard,
Wow.
or a language that, like with Italians or stuff like that, you could kind of pick up words here and there. Or I'm not a linguist or anything like that, but I understand some languages.
Of
And this
course.
was like something, yeah, this was something I've never heard before.
Wow.
So what feels like hours, I guess it was like a few minutes or whatever. She starts walking away, disappears. At this time, I'm able to break free my left arm. So I had a dresser to the left of me. I start boom, 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 start banging on it. My wife runs in. She's like, "What happened? What happened?" And then I'm able to break free, and I'm telling her, like, "Man, this freaking lady came in the room. I was frozen. I couldn't freaking move." She started whispering stuff in my ear. I don't know what she was saying. Like I was freaking out, bro.
Wow.
And I didn't find out later till until later that this was, I guess, um, I guess I could say alien or something of that nature related. Whenever I did a channeling session, and the lady that I was channeling with started telling me about it. The Greys had tapped into her and were talking to me and telling me about this. And I do want to say we interviewed this dude, David Hunt, which I'm actually going to release next week.
Awesome.
And he was telling me about, and it gave me chills, bro. He was telling me about the story after he had been abducted. He came back and all this paranormal stuff was happening to his house. His wife, she wasn't kind of taking it, I guess, nobody's gonna take it like, oh man, that was awesome. So she's going through her stuff, he's going through his stuff. He's upstairs sleeping, she's downstairs sleeping, and they both had the exact same experience at the
Oh,
exact
wow.
same time, just in separate rooms. And he told me that somebody, like I told you, dressed up, you couldn't really see them, walked up to them. They had sleep paralysis, walked up to them right to the side of their head and leaned over and started saying stuff to them.
In a dialect that they didn't understand.
Bro, I'm
Wow.
talking about like, yeah, when they said that, I looked at Mary and I was like, bro,
That's identical. How would they have? Yeah, that's not a coincidence. I mean, people don't dream the same dream because we have different ways of thinking. Now, let me ask you a question. When all this was happening before the channeling session, it's a two-part question. So before you got the channeling session that let you know that this was extraterrestrial in nature, why do you think it was happening to you then? And then the second question is, now that you know it's extraterrestrial, why do you know why do you know now that it happened to you? So answer the first one if you don't mind.
I mean, I honestly don't know. Well, back then, I didn't know why it was happening to me. I just, I just always thought that, these kind of things were drawn to me for whatever reason. I didn't know anything about the hybridization program or about, star seeds or anything like that. Well, I mean, when I saw the Whisper Lady, I did. But whenever I was
Okay.
younger, I didn't know anything about that, until later on. And then whenever I had that channeling session and things kind of like lined up to what was going on, I'm like, okay, maybe it does tie in to this hybridization program. And, this is something that's maybe just watching me, something maybe that I was told that after I do have a sleep paralysis episode, that I had just been visited, whether it's for like a
Mm.
DNA collection or whatever. So I'm assuming it's for that.
Oh wow, wow, wow. Okay, so okay, that was intense. Now I'm not even gonna lie. The fact that you went from a paranormal experience and then later on in life finding out that it was actually an extraterrestrial experience is kind of mind blowing for people out there that might have similar experiences and they go, yo, I was visited by a ghostly apparition or I was visited by this. Maybe stay open to the fact that it was actually an extraterrestrial or a multi-dimensional experience. Now, let's fast forward a little bit. Now you're doing a lot of interviews with people, you're getting to know people. You've already mentioned that you've met channelers before and you've been almost, I don't know if you've been regressed. Have you been regressed already?
I have not, but it's on the
Okay.
docket.
Okay, that's awesome. I can't wait. Maybe we'll have like a part two after the
Yeah, for
regression to
sure.
find
You
out.
already know,
You know,
bro.
I need to know what you uncover. But okay, have you ever had any like channelers on your podcast that might have taught you something about your lineage or your past lives or anything like that, or maybe the reason why you're getting visitations? Has anybody brought anything to your attention?
The only one that did was Laura Ferguson, Starcy Lolo. She's the one that kind of, brought all these things together when the Greys came in through her channeling. And apparently they were like super eager to talk to me. And, they were talking about, what I just told you about the hybridization program and that they are collecting, this DNA. And, that's whenever, I'm there asking questions,
You got
started
them.
bringing up, yeah, started bringing up all this stuff about all the orbs I'm seeing, back in July last year. I walk outside, it's 3 in the morning. There's 7, 8 freaking orbs in the sky. I told you about it, and they're like the way they're positioned, bro. Like it's intelligence. They're forming. They're like making different formations. I go inside. I told you I went inside, woke up Mary, started kicking the bed. Babe, come outside. You got to see this. You got to see this. I want her to experience this. And by the time she came outside, they had already kind of split off through the neighborhood. And like the way that I would describe it, it was strategic.
Mm.
Like they broke off from the formation and started going over the neighborhood. And I'm thinking, I look over, I'm like, man, they about to go abduct somebody, handle some alien business. And then so it's just three triangles left, or three orbs forming a triangle left over pretty much I would say like within a couple of blocks from our house, bro. And the two broke off. Another two broke off from the side, just freaking shot off. And that main one just sat there for a long time. And what they told me was that these were these were the hybrid children trying to get my
Wow.
attention, trying to let me know that they were there. And fast forward again with the paranormal activity, well, alien normal, I guess. This stuff's still happening. We're sitting down in the living room. We got cameras all over the house. My dogs start going freaking nuts, bro. Run into the sliding door. We have glass sliding doors in the back of the living room. They go to the
Yeah.
backyard, and you can see an opening at the bottom from the curtains that we have. And my dogs start going crazy, like crazy, crazy, bro. They run to the back, and I look up, and from the reflection of the TV, I see two pairs of feet, like barefoot, but they're like little kid feet,
What?
and they just run off. Fume. And I tell my wife, I'm like, babe, I just saw little kid feet. So, we go back to the cameras, we run the cameras back. We don't see nothing, like nothing was
Wow.
there at all, bro. And apparently these are two of the hybrid children that are always watching me. Kind of find out they're
Wow.
always watching Mary too, but
Wow.
they're always around, which takes me to the videos that I started recording. Well, every time I see these orbs, they're always sensitive too. When I went to the corner store, and I believe you have the video. If not, it's on my YouTube.
Yeah, we'll
Two
definitely
orb,
link it up.
yeah, two orbs. Nobody's paying attention to it. They're super bright, positioned in the same way. One on top to the left, one on the bottom to the right. Another orb shoots out super fast from the bottom up, splits them.
What?
We're coming from another day. We're coming from my graduation ceremony from electrical school. There's a big orb in the sky, and I'm like, man, that's a freaking orb. We're driving across Houston, bro. It's following us all the
What?
way till we get to the neighborhood. Splits into two, and it's hovering. They're both hovering, probably about like 3 blocks, 4 blocks away from the house. Super bright, and we're just there recording it, bro. The one on the left kind of like morphs or shifts into like a tic tac, but like a shiny rainbow reflective metallic looking things kind of start spinning. And what was cool about it, just for like some validation, we had a DoorDash dude coming, and he's getting off, he's dropping the food, and he sees us, we're over there recording, we're all looking at the sky. He's like, oh, what are you guys looking at? And we're like, bro. And he
Look
starts
up.
tripping out. Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I've seen something like this back in my country in Venezuela." I mean, of course, they all
Wow.
that's normal to them over there.
Yeah,
South
nah, it's
America and
true.
stuff like that.
They
That
don't
that's
cover it
that's
up that
daily.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just continuous, bro, continuous progression with the same two
Wow.
orbs every single time.
Okay, so I guess the question I have to that is, how does that make you feel knowing that you have all this activity happening to you and it's attached to the hybridization program? How does that resonate with you? Are you mad about it? Are you happy? Are you interested? Do you want to know more? Do you not want to know more? I know there's people out there that might actually not want to know that this is happening to them out of fear that it might change their normal routine of their everyday life. Me, on the other hand, I do podcasts like this because I need and want to know everything about every
Yeah,
situation. So I
same.
guess my question to you is like, how do you feel about knowing that you have these hybrid kids and you're attached to the program?
I mean, I'm cool with it. I was told whenever I want them to reach out to me. Okay, so I'm cool with it, but at the same time, it can be scary. And I'm man enough to say that like some of the stuff is scary, bro.
As you, yeah,
So
that's
I was
fine.
told, if you want to see them or I want to be visited by them, just ask for it. So I'm about to go to sleep, and I asked for it, bro. I asked for it. I really
Be
did.
careful
I
what you
asked to
wish
come see
for,
me.
man.
Yeah, I asked to come see me, help me not be afraid,
Awesome.
and to heal me. Anything that I have going on mentally, physically, spiritually, help myself to heal.
Love that.
So I'm laying down in bed. I wake up in the middle of the freaking night, and it's like everything is quiet. Like if I'm in a silent bubble almost. We
Mm.
sleep with all the fans on. We got the AC on code. We always have to have rain music going. All that was gone, bro. It was quiet, quiet. You couldn't hear
Wow.
nothing. It was almost like I was deaf. And again, I'm paralyzed. I can't move. I can't move my head, but I could only see with my peripheral. And I see a long, skinny arms with long, skinny fingers
Mm.
reach over my bed, grabs my blanket, and starts pulling it off really slowly. And then,
What?
yeah, and then I guess I black out, and then I come back to, and I'm freaking screaming at them. And not like no manly scream, bro. Like
I know.
like I'm freaking Thor or something like that. I was like, ooh, like a freaking, yeah, I'm the aggressive ghost, son.
I got you. I
Yeah,
got
so
you.
yeah,
I
so
got you.
yeah, so Mary wakes up. She's like, "What happened?" And she said that what I did is that I kind of like crossed my arms and leaned back like really slowly, like I was in some sort of a meditative state, and that my eyes were closed. And I told her, I think they visited me again, and then
Mm.
I went to sleep. And what's crazy about that is I had another channeling session about that specifically, but I didn't mention specifics about what I said or anything like that. But I was told, bro, I was told like this. Yeah, there's no reason for you to be afraid. Remember, you asked us to come and visit you. You
Mm.
asked for healing specifically like that, bro. And I got
Wow.
goosebumps, bro. And I'm
That
like,
was exactly what you asked for, and it was
yeah,
confirmed in the
yeah. They
channeling
said you
session.
asked for healing, and
What?
I was like, well, you know, it was scary, bro. And what they said is, well, next time we'll try to sedate you better.
Wow. Well, make sure that you're under a little bit better, so you're not
Yeah,
scared of the
yeah.
of
Maybe
the
they
way
didn't
we
say it
look.
exactly like that, but pretty much they're gonna make sure I'm more relaxed.
Wow. I mean, yo, as a person that's seen an extraterrestrial in physical form, I can tell you it's definitely a be careful what you wish for situation. When you see something like that and in real life, it's definitely jarring, and it really sends you for a loop. It does something to your body on an energetic level. And the way that they communicate is completely telepathic. And us as humans, a lot of our communication is body language. So when you don't have body language coming from these beings, because everything's telepathic, they could be telling you, hey man, I love you. I love everything about you. But all you see is this.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Tell me, yeah.
because of that, it's a communication issue that will definitely induce fear. Now, let me ask you a question. So when you see these orbs, have you ever tried to, like, let's say, do something like a CE5 initiative to make those orbs kind of appear for you, since they are connected to your hybrid children? Do you feel as if you can call them on command?
I mean, from what's been happening for the past 3 years, I want to kind of say yes, because I mean that's literally what's been happening. But I didn't really try with the intent until about 2 weeks ago, when I was like, man, you know what? Let's try to see 5 protocols. Let's see what
Nice.
happens. And I haven't put the video out or anything like that. I showed you the video.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, right above the daycare behind our house, there's a big, bright freaking orb. And it's just,
Wow.
bro, it's stupid bright. And it's
Yeah.
just there. And, Mary's recording, and I'm starting to see other orbs. I see one, flying across the sky, and then I see another one like really like way up high, and I'm like, babe, up there, up there. She puts the camera up, bro. That thing's flying through the sky fast,
What?
just like. And for people who maybe if I do put it out later, oh, that's an airplane. Negative. I used to work at the
Negative.
airport, and yeah, at night, I know what airplanes look like. And there was an airplane that started flying below it. And I mean, it's obvious what the difference is. You could see it clear as
Wow.
day.
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's tie this into what's happening currently right now in ufology. Have you been seeing all these files that's been dropping lately?
I have, um, I don't know what I think about it yet. I think it's cool that they're finally talking about it. But
Agreed.
then at the same time, I got to be a realist and think, why are they dropping it now? Because the government's always done things s- purposely and specifically
Strategically. Yeah.
yeah, strategically for whatever reasons that are going to benefit them so they could gain. Whether
So
it's trying to get our attention from something that's happening to this because they know that this is going to be a world changing, event, that these topics are being discussed on the media and by our government.
So a lot of people, right, that are seeing these files, and this is the trend that I've been seeing lately. Me and my wife been talking about this a lot lately. They're calling these extraterrestrial beings demons. Like, I don't like to get religious. I don't like to talk about politics. That's not really kind of my thing. I like to be completely open in all conversations. But as a person that has had contact with multiple beings throughout my life, and a majority of my contact has been positive, it's kind of hard to imagine a demonic force being positive when they're
Yeah.
known to be negative all the time. Now, I'm not discrediting anybody out there that has had negative experiences with extraterrestrials or different kind of races for whatever reason. I mean, your truth is your truth and your story is your story. But in my personal paradigm, like in my life personally, everything has been positive. What do you feel like would happen if the government would just say, you know what, let's give you 100% of the information. Let's not slow drip it anymore. And then people realize that things aren't the way they seem. What do you think is the worst that can happen? Do you feel like people are ready to know the truth 100%? Or do you feel like as a population, we need to be slow dripped this information, even if it is real or fake, whatever the case may be?
I think some people need to be slow dripped, especially people that are like hardcore into religion and, like people that seriously follow Christianity or hardcore Catholics or like Muslims, stuff like that. If this stuff comes out and they're like, it's these guys or these people that you guys are worshiping or so and so back in the day who were intelligent beings that came down and started doing all this stuff and teaching these teachings, I think that they would have a hard time with it. And some people I think would even go to the extent of not even wanting to be here anymore because the
Unfortunately.
whole thing about, oh, I need to do right, so I could be able to make it to heaven. For a hardcore religious person, I mean, what are they gonna have to live for? It's gonna kind of be like one of those situations where it's like, what if we're the only people that's living in the planet and all this space, in the whole friggin' galaxy or universe, it's just us. And for some people that's kind of scary. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, let's just go crazy. Let's just party, you know.
Yeah.
And then you know how that goes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
rioting and but then there's other people like us. I don't care for the slow drip. I'd rather have it all right here, right now. Tell me everything that we need to know because also what comes with that is the technology, the advanced healing, the stuff that we could benefit from, the stuff that they've been hiding from us that comes with knowing that these things are here. Because whenever they come out and say it, all those questions are going to start being asked.
A
Well,
hundred
how did
percent.
how did they how did they live so long? How are they able to travel across galaxies, you know, super fast? How are they able to teleport? You know, these things are 1,000 years old. Oh, how do they do that? What, free energy? I don't have to pay my light bill this month. Why am I paying rent still?
Agreed.
Oil and gas. I don't got to pay
It
gasoline no more.
Everything collapses. I mean, I'm totally on the same page. I mean, you actually took the thought out of my head and said it. The very next thing I was going to say is my opinion on the matter is the reason why they slow drip is people start asking questions, and one of the main questions that you just brought up right now that the people will start asking is how did they get there? Where civilization is still using fossil fuels to be able to move forward when there's been multiple people that has come up with multiple different kinds of way to be able to propel your vehicle. I mean, through water, oil, whatever, reverse osmosis. There's been so many engines and so many designs and patents done to where we don't need to use gasoline. It's better for the environment. It's better to be able to travel with. But if we do that, then how many people? I mean, look at the price of gas right now. How many people lose money? I feel like those people are in control of a lot more than a lot of people understand. And if we unleash this information and give people the free energy, then those people lose a lot. So we're not thinking
Yeah.
about forwarding and advancing civilization at the moment. We're thinking about keeping our pockets fatter as a civilization and as the human race. I mean, at the end of the day, if you really think about it, why are we paying for fruits and vegetables? Why is there not an apple tree on every corner in every neighborhood for homeless people to be able to eat? Why
While
is
we paying
there
for water, bro.
Exactly. Why is there even a homeless problem with all this space? I know that there's another illusion that they like to put out there, and they like to say that we're running out of space. There's not enough space, and there's not enough resources. And I truly believe that that's just an excuse to go
Yeah.
somewhere and grab resources. So, do you feel like at right now where we are 2026 as a human race, are we even developed mentally to be even able to go to another level in civilization? I know that I was talking to a friend of mine, and we was talking about the importance of meditation, and if we could just get 1% of the population to meditate, how much change can that actually do to the world? Is it possible to change the world through meditation? I mean, I know I'm going on a tangent here, but when I think about all these things, it really does, like, it gets me aggravated because there is technology out there that can eradicate diseases. There's technology out there that can get us from point A to point B at a
Yeah.
very more affordable way. I mean, why are we doing this as humans? I don't understand, but I guess that's our job as well as podcasters to get people aware that there are other ways. I mean, I know that the one thing I love about ufology in this community is a lot of people stick together and we really do ride for each other in this community.
Oh yeah, for
So I
sure.
feel like if we get all our minds together, we could possibly figure out a way to actually tip the scales in a more positive way. Now, I've talked a little bit about Project Bluebeam before on podcasts that I've been on. Do you think that this is a setup for an alien invasion and this is what they're doing? They're slow dripping, let us know aliens exist, and then boom, give us a fake alien invasion, and then Trump is president for another 38,000 years. What do you think about Project Bluebeam?
So I think they kind of have to fall back on that plan a little bit because all this stuff's already out there, and we've been hearing for the longest about Project Bluebeam and what's going to happen to the point where I'm, like seeing all this stuff on the news and, like when these big comments are coming, they're like, oh, it's an alien spaceship. In my mind, I'm like, come on, guys. Like, we've been talking about this for years. And the first time they come out and talk about it, you guys jump straight to it that, oh, it's aliens. Don't forget about Project Bluebeam. But
Uh-huh.
then that takes me back to when you brought up about the religious aspect of it. And I think now, and this was JD Vance that had started it when he started talking about their demons. And I think
Mm,
now they're going to try to play that card and say that all these things are demons. They're going to try to usher in the fake Messiah, the fake prophet, or whatever, to kind of bring everybody together and make this new world order. This is going
mm.
to be since they can't play that hand. They're like, oh, guess what? Thank you, JV. We're gonna flip it now, and say that they're demons because they're being talked about, on that level. And then I was listening to a podcast today too, and this dude was talking about, he's a remote viewer, and he was remote viewing like all these, I guess, like the leaders of the people that are kind of like running things, and that the new game plan, which kind of ties into this, is that here soon we're going to be going out to space.
Mm.
And in order for us to do that, there's going to be these other civilizations that are going to be trying to interact with us. We can't do that unless us as a planet have our stuff together.
Yeah.
So what do they got to
Yeah.
do? They got to form. a world organization, a one world order, where we're all united, not as different countries, different cities, different states, as a planet. And they're going to try to push this to make that happen, which ties in, to what we are just talking about previous.
When I think about the fact that whoever might be, you know, in charge of this master scheme plan for one world government, when I start thinking about the fact that they're this close to be able to do a mass deception, I feel like it's even more of an importance that we're doing these talks and we're having these conversations. Like, I actually want to know more about these projects and more about these facilities and what they're doing, not to expose and uncover, but just to understand the truth and where we're going as a civilization.
Yeah.
Now, my wonder to you, we're talking about all this, and it can stir a lot of people crazy. I can't lie. Me
Oh yeah,
even
for
thinking
sure.
about it right now is making me go, like I want to swing on somebody, right? What's a way that you could recommend to people? Let's say they've had an experience. I know I tell people all the time, use art to be able to take your negative experiences or your PTSD and be able to release it in a positive way to be able to educate people. All the music that I make is for that very reason, is to be able to educate people about what's going on. Do you have any techniques, any meditation techniques, anything that you do when all this stuff starts becoming overwhelming for you? What do you do to be able to like take a step back and get the job done?
I mean, I have one little technique that I do before I go to sleep, and it's more like a breathing technique where I I take a deep breath for 4 seconds, I hold it in for 16, and then I exhale for 8 seconds. And then I do that like 3 or 4 times, and it helps. But as far as, I mean, music, I do music. I haven't really done too much lately because I've been, pretty much focused with the podcast. But one thing, what works for me, being able to, I guess, kind of heal myself from, all these things that are happening, is to talk about it.
That's
Because I
what's
can't
up.
talk about it to regular people. So, whenever I'm having, guests on, or not even whenever I'm talking to them anymore, I could wake up in the morning on the weekend, start working on a video, and I'm just listening to the conversation. And just that in itself is healing, because not only are they getting, what they're going through out, they're able to talk about it, they're able to
Yeah,
release it. I'm
yeah,
doing the same thing. I'm talking about it. I'm able to release it as well, and and get it out instead of just holding it in and dwelling on it and stressing about it and thinking about it, because that's the kind of things that drive people crazy.
yeah,
They don't talk about these things, which goes
yeah,
back to what we're doing with our shows. This is also one of the reasons it's also beneficial to the person, to get this stuff out, because you don't want to be one of those people that hold all this stuff in, and it builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and then you snap. We
yep.
don't want that for you. I'm sure you don't want that for me.
Nope.
So why not talk about it?
You still there?
Yep.
Yeah, lost you there for a minute. No, no, no. I totally agree with what you're saying before you cut out. Like, as a community, we have to be there for each other, especially using these podcasts to be able to express ourselves. Because if it wasn't for that, we will blow up, man. It's inevitable. You have to be able to release these negative emotions in a positive way. So now we're getting towards the end of the pod. And I was going to show your backyard video with the orb, but I can see
Yeah.
we're having a little bit of tech difficulties with like reception and all that. So if
Yeah.
they do want to see that, where can they go check it out?
You guys could go check it out on YouTube at the Melted Broadcast. You could also go check it out on my website, themeltedbroadcast.com. And we have everything on there. All the sites to watch the shows. If you guys don't want to visually watch it, you can listen to it. We're on Spotify at the Melted Broadcast. We got t-shirts on there, we got hats on there. Whatever you guys need, we got it, and we'll ship it
Let's
out fast.
go.
But get you that gear though. Definitely get you that gear.
I love it. I love it. And I love the fact that you're promoting your merch. A lot of people don't understand that this is the way that we're able to continue to bring you this stuff, right? So the reason why the Melted broadcast is able to have all these cool guests on and is able to keep on dedicating time to their podcast is because of listeners like you that might go and purchase their merch so they're able to continue really keeping their, their
Yeah,
whole empire going. And the same thing with me. Right now, we're working on merch for the podcast, and I would hope that people listening will go out there and support us in that way as well. So I totally, totally respect the fact that you let people know. So once again, go to the meltedbroadcast.com or check them out on youtube.com/. The Melted Broadcast or at The Melted Broadcast. I don't know how that
yeah,
goes, but check
yeah.
out The
Forward
Melted
slash at the
Broadcast
Melted
and I,
broadcast.
there you go. All right, so let me see. What's one last thing I can ask you, right? If you had 1 million people that were listening to this podcast, hopefully we'll get to those numbers there one day, right? What would
Yeah,
you
for sure.
want those people to know, right? What's the one thing that you want to leave these people with when it comes to, the experiences that you've had and the amount of people that you've been able to interview and the things that you've learned? What can you tell people about the future of ufology, the future of what's coming up with the Melted broadcast? What do you want the people to know?
I mean, well, for one, quit being so ugly with other people in ufology. I mean, we're all here for the same goal, disclosure. The people that are going through this, they don't. The last thing they need is other people over there ridiculing them. Just love one another. And as far as what I have coming up, here, I guess
Here
coming
comes the
soon in
announcement. Hold on, hold on.
yeah.
The announcement. Here comes the announcement. Remember, at the beginning of the podcast, we said that there was an announcement for something that's going on in August. So, my brother, please let the people know what's going on in August with the Melted broadcast.
Yeah, so August 16th, we have the Melting Minds conference. It's going to be an free online conference. Anybody could watch it. We have 8 people booked right now. I have a couple people on reserve that I'm probably going to, pop them in there. It's going to be like a 6-hour event. We're going to, everybody's going to go on there, talk, do their thing, do whether it's a presentation or, they want to give you the stuff that you guys want to hear. And then at the end, we're going to close it with a roundtable conversation along with the Q&A with us, my boy Skits, and all our guests. And we have such a wonderful lineup. I'm truly blessed to have these people coming on and for them to even want to participate, in this thing with me. Uh, I know it's going to go good. I always, hope for the best. And, you just got to, what do they say? Um, you got to manifest it. So, I'm manifesting greatness out of this conference for me and for everybody involved.
Yep.
And, it's something we're going to start doing every year and we're going to just keep growing it and growing it. So, you guys check that out August 16th.
Man, I can't wait. I'm super honored and humbled to be a part of it. I got some great information coming from you guys. Also, got some news myself. I actually got a little, episode over at Gaia that you guys could go check out here pretty soon. That's all I'm going to say. But we did officially shoot it, and I'm super excited to be working with a company that prestigious and that well known in the community. So look, everybody got great things going on right now. Please, please, please make sure you RSVP that August 16th
Yeah.
conference, the Melted Broadcast Melt Your Mind Conference. I think that's what you call it, or what did you call it?
The Melting Minds Conference.
There you go, the Melted Minds Conference. So please go check it out. There's some great names. I'll be speaking. Who are some of the other names that you already have confirmed, if you don't mind me asking?
We have Mark Hill, Laura Ferguson, Michael Koff. We have your buddy.
Wow.
How do you say his name? Ray or Ray Boss?
Oh yeah, Voss. Yep, 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 yep.
Yeah, we got Voss on there. Carter
That's
Bouchard.
the Codex of Curiosity, right?
Yeah,
Codega's Codex of
yeah,
Curiosities. Go check that out. Yeah, it's really
yeah.
dope.
Carter Bouchard. We have. Andrew Razowitz, the psychic firefighter,
Let's
going up there.
go. Actually,
Yeah,
episode 2 of the Hybrid Podcast. So go check that out, dropping pretty soon. Very cool.
and somebody who confirmed with me yesterday, our friend Mac Parsi, all the way
What?
from
Let's go,
Australia.
Parsi, man. Parsi. You know
Yeah,
what? I really do put Parsley almost on the same level of like a Chris Bledsoe. I mean, the way that
yeah,
this man is able to like summon orbs is out of control. Hopefully
it's
one day we can get him.
crazy, bro.
Hopefully one day we can get him to the states and we can have a really dope CE5 with Parsi. But what a talent that guy is! What a good person he is. Kind soul. Known him for a long time. Always super supportive. Might actually ask him to be on the podcast as well. His story is super, well, mind blowing as well. So the fact that he's going to be in the conference,
Yeah,
guys, this is going to
yeah.
be something serious to be a part of. Okay, also,
All
me and
star
you,
lineup.
me and you've been talking about doing a little something, something about the movie that's coming out pretty soon called Disclosure Day. I know we got our tickets
Oh yeah.
a day
Yep.
early so we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stay tuned for that as well. Me and Tony tend to collaborate on a lot of things. So you'll see us doing like Cosmic Curiosity, the Reddit files, and we got a lot of stuff coming up. So stay on the lookout for this dynamic duo. We're going to keep killing them. Anybody you want to shout out? Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
To all the supporters from the Melted broadcast, I really appreciate you guys watching the show and reaching out, and to all the people that have came on my show and all the people who agreed to come to the conference. I mean, it's such a freaking awesome lineup, bro. This thing is
Oh
going
my
to be
God.
ridiculous.
Oh my,
Yeah,
and it's
which
just the
also,
first one. It's
yeah,
just the
yeah, that's
first
just the first
one.
one.
So imagine what, yo, I'm not saying
Yeah,
nothing. I'm not saying
and
nothing.
want to thank my wife too.
Awesome.
She's awesome, and all the friends and family that just support the show. And back again, real quick with the conference, it's
Yeah.
gonna be like a 6 or 7 hour event. Like, just so everybody knows, I don't have like a whole team of people that are gonna be back here with me trying to, orchestrate this and everything. So, man, this it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be really hard. It's gonna be busy. I might need your help, skits. We'll talk about that offline.
We'll figure it
You know what I'm
out,
saying?
man.
Might
There's
have to,
no
yeah, have to
worries.
swap places, but we're doing this for you guys, so you guys could have this, and hopefully we do it every year. Nah, not hopefully, we're gonna do
Ain't
it
no
every year.
hopefully we're gonna do it every year until this conference turns into a festival at a location where you could come physically see us. That's what's gonna happen. So hell yeah, anything I could do to make it happen a lot smoother. I know something like that is definitely all about coordination. I'll probably ask my wife to also be involved on the behind the scenes to help and get emails out and stuff like that. So get people on track. Because really, all it takes for something like this is just make sure everybody's slotted out properly and
Yeah.
everybody got the times that they're going to come in. So I'm pretty sure it's going to go smooth like butter. And then, yeah, man, this was episode 1 of the Hybrid Podcast. And I hope that you guys stay tuned for the journey. Stick around for what's going to come next. Like I said, episode 2, we got the psychic firefighter, my brother Andrew. Episode 3's already been booked. My boy Tony Ghazi, which is a really well-known channeler for the insectoid, the praying mantis beings. So I'm super excited about that. And I got a couple of people up my sleeve for the next upcoming episodes as well. Also, we got some music coming out pretty soon. I just asked, I think it was Laura Ferguson, Star C Lolo,
Yes.
to hop on a track with me and you. So there's a collaboration track coming out pretty soon with me, Tony Marz, and hopefully Star C Lolo. So let's see if you guys support the music as much as you guys support the podcast. So once again,
Yeah, for
check out
sure.
my brother Tony Marz on the Melted Broadcast and go check him out over at themeltedbroadcast.com. Go buy some merch, go show him some love. Shout out to everybody that took the time out to listen, and hope to see you guys next time. Peace and infinite blessings.
Peace.